to Assembly Devotee, all great Sisi Guru and Goranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Text 40-41. Visudam kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avastitam satyam purnam anadi antam nirgunam nityam advyayam. Visudam kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avastitam satyam purnam anadi antam nirgunam nitya avyayam. What is?
Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avasthitam satyam purnam anacyantam nirgunam nityam advayam.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna. Vishidam kevalam jnanam pratyak samyad avashtitam satyam purnam anadiyantam nirgunam nityam advayam. Hare Krishna.
Okay, continue to read the second part. Visevidanti munaya prasana mendriyasvaya yada tad eva satyaksay tirodiyeta viplutam. Visevidanti munaya prasantat mendriyasvaya yada tad eva satyaksay tirodiyeta viplutam. So we're going to read the word-to-word translation. Visudam, without any material tinge. Kevalam, pure and perfect. Jnanam, knowledge. Pratyak, all-pervading. Samyak, in fullness. Avasthitam, situated. Satyam, truth. Purnam, absolute. Anadi, without any beginning. Antam, and so also without any end. Nirgunam, devoid of material modes. Nityam, eternal. Adyam, advayam, without any rival. We say, O Narada, O great sage, Vedanti, they can only understand. Munaya, the great thinkers. Prasanta, pacified. Atma, self. Indriya, senses. Asaya, sheltered. Yadha, while. Tat, that. Eva, certainly. Asat, and tenable. Tarkai, argument. Tiradiyeta, disappears. Viplatam, distorted. Translation by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contamination or material tinges, is absolute truth and the embodiment of all full and perfect knowledge, is all-pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival. O Narada, O great sage, the great thinkers can only know him when completely freed from all material hankering and when sheltered under the undisturbed condition of the senses. Otherwise, by unattainable arguments, all is distorted, and the Lord disappears from our sight. Long purport. Here is an estimation of the Lord apart from transcendental activities in the temporary material creation. Mayavadi philosophy tried to designate the Lord as contaminated by a material body when he accepts the form of incarnation. This sort of interpolation is completely denied herein by the explanation that the Lord's position is pure and unalloyed in all circumstances. According to Mayavada philosophy, the spirit soul, when covered by nuisance, is designated as jiva, but when freed from such ignorance or nuisance, he emerges in the impersonal existence of the absolute truth. But here it is said that the Lord is eternally the symbol of full and perfect knowledge. This is a speciality, perpetual freedom from all material contaminations. This distinguishes the Lord from the individual common living entities who have the aptitude for being subordinated by nuisance and thus become materially designated. In the Vedas, it is said that the Lord is Vijnanam Anandam, full of bliss and knowledge. The conditioned soul are never to be compared to him because such individual souls have the tendency to become contaminated. Also, after liberation, the living entity can become one with the same quality of the existence as the Lord. His very tendency to become contaminated, which the Lord never has, makes the individual living entity different from the Lord. In the Vedas, it is said, Sudam apapa vidam. The individual Atma become polluted by sin, but the Lord is never contaminated by sin. The Lord is compared to the powerful sun. The sun is never contaminated by anything infectious because it is so powerful. On the contrary, infected things are sterilized by the rays of the sun. Similarly, the Lord is never contaminated by sin. On the contrary, the sun is never contaminated by anything infectious because, this means the Lord is also all pervading like the sun, and such the word of pratya is used in this verse. Nothing is excluded from the expansions of the Lord's potency. The Lord is within everything and is all covering also, without being disturbed by the activities of the individual souls. He is therefore infinite, and the living entities are infinitesimal. In the Vedas, it is said that only the Lord alone exists, and all others' existences depend on him. He is a generating reservoir for everyone's existential capacity. He is the supreme truth of all other categorical truths. He is the source of everyone's opulence. Therefore, no one can equal him in opulence. Being full of all opulence, namely wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, certainly he is the supreme person. And because he is a person, he has many personal qualities. Also, he is transcendental, the material modes. Yeah. Being full of explanation, we have already discussed the statement, Itam Bhuta Guna Hari. Bhagavatam 1, 7, 10. His transcendental qualities are so attractive that even the liberated soul, Atmarama, are also attracted by them. Also possessed of all personal qualities, he is nevertheless omnipotent. Therefore, personally has nothing to do, for everything is being carried out by his omnipotent energies. This is confirmed by the Vedic mantras Parasya Sakti Vividaiva Suyate Swabhavika Jnana Bhala Kriya Cha. This suggests he is a specific spiritual form which can never be experienced by material senses. He can be seen only when the senses are purified by devotional service. Yam evaisa vinute tena labhya. As such, there are basic uh, differences between the Lord and the living entity in so many respects. No one can be compared to the Lord, as the Vedas declare, Ekam eva vidityam brahma dvaitad vaibhayam bhavati. The Lord has no competitor, and he has nothing to fear from any other being, nor can anyone be equal to him. Although he is the root of all other beings, there are basic differences between him and other beings. Otherwise, there would have been no necessity for statement in the previous verse that no one can know him 100%, as is Nayam Vidanti Tatvena. That no one can fully understand him is explained also in this verse, but the qualification for understanding to some degree is mentioned here. Only the, the prasantas, or the unalloyed devotees of the Lord, can know him to greater extent. The reason is that the devotees have no demands in their lives, but to be obedient servant of the Lord, while all others, namely the empiric philosophers, the mystic and fruitive workers, all basically have some demand and such. They cannot be pacified. The fruitive worker wants reward for his work, the mystic wants some perfection of life, and the empiric philosopher wants to merge in the existence of the Lord. Somehow or other, as long as there is a demand for sense satisfaction, there's no chance for pacification. On the contrary, by unnecessary dry speculative argument, the whole matter becomes distorted, and thus the Lord moves still further away from our understanding. The dry speculators, however, because of the following the principle of austerity and penance, can have knowledge of the impersonal feature of the Lord to some extent, but there is no chance of their understanding his ultimate form as Govinda, because only the Amalatmanas, or the completely sinless person, can accept pure devotion service to the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7:28. Esam te antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam edvanta mohanir mukta bhajante mam tridhavataha. ॐ ज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै गुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं ददाति पदातिकम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीशा कान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते प्रणतोरङ्गे राजवृन्दावनेश्वरे वृषभानुं श्रुतिदेवी हरे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णाय वितरस्मते दशमि Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Yes. Dear devotees, thank you very much for trying to hear Srimad Bhagavatam today. Mm, Hearing the words of Srila Prabhupada is a long purpose, a lot of information. And the key words that we can take away from this class, the Lord's talk about Mayavadi philosophy, try to designate the Lord as contaminated by material body when he accepts the form of incarnation. Yeah, actually, trying to talk on this first one, the Mayavadi. Actually, the world is full of Mayavadis people. And lately, I heard some excerpt from from Facebook from one Islamic person. He was talking about the installation of Ram Lala in Ayodhya, and he was just criticizing, was saying we spend so much money, like so much thousands of dollars, like to just for building the temple and for the installation, all the decoration. And he said, who is Lord Rama? And he said, who Lord Rama doesn't say he's God. Lord Rama is Maryada Purushotam. He's a perfect human being. Purus means Purushotam. He's just an ordinary great person. He's not a great king. And he said, really, God doesn't have any mother, doesn't have any father, doesn't have any children. How, Lord Rama has, love and push. How can God have mother? He's not God. And he's talking according to his very limited knowledge that he got from the Quran. And he was trying to preach to his congregation about the impersonal form of God. Most of the religion, they don't have personal form of God. And especially the Mayavadis, they try to become one with God. So, so people are very, very, very ignorant of the Vedic literatures. The only devotees, you know, they can understand Krishna. Only devotees, and not only ordinary devotee, only pure devotee who is really free from all kind of contamination, material contamination. They can understand Krishna to some extent, not even fully understand Krishna. Even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and all the demigods, nobody can understand Krishna. Because Krishna is, Krishna it doesn't reveal himself to everyone. Krishna revealed himself only to his pure devotees, you know. And there's a nice song, Govinda Kohina Mora. Krishna is always reside in the heart of the devotees, the pure devotees. So then he revealed himself. Only a pure devotee can realize Krishna. According to the Mayavada philosophy, the spirit soul, like everyone, the spirit soul, they're covered by nuisance, and is designated, they're all jiva. But when the spirit soul is freed from all ignorance, then he merges into the impersonal existence of the absolute truth of Krishna. That is the Mayavada philosophy. Also, another point is that the Lord is eternal, eternally the symbol of full and perfect knowledge. This is spirituality, perpetual freedom from all material contamination. This distinguishes the Lord from the individual common living entities who have the attitude of being subordinated by nuisance and thus becoming material designated. And and who can understand Krishna? And also is famous with Atavasi Krishna Namadi Nabhavit Gaham Indriyani Sevamuki Hi Jivado. And Swayam Spurad Pada. And the Lord cannot be understood by our material. The Lord pastime activities and pastime cannot be understood by our material senses. And the Lord only can be understood by by using our tongue in glorifying Krishna. And we have to be pure from all kind of contamination in order to really understand who really Krishna is. So Krishna is not revealed to us because we have imperfect senses, you know, and with the Swayam Eva Spurat Adam. So by our imperfect senses, how can we understand the all pure Lord who is full of free from all kind of contamination? So that's why it is recommended that how can we be qualified, to have purified senses to understand the Lord is by the hearing process, hearing and chanting. So the first verses in Srimad Bhagavatam is say in Srimvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtan. Like we have to regularly, hear Krishna. Videhi Abhadrani. We say Abhadrani means the heart is full of contamination. So by regularly hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, you we do any Surit Satam, then the Lord who is within the heart, He purifies. So the Lord is in everyone's heart, but those who are interested, those who are eager to know about Krishna, who constantly hear Krishna, simply by the process of hearing and chanting, you know, Krishna, Krishna, hear about the activities and pastime, and by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which was given by the Guru Parampara, you know, you know, then gradually, by adapting all these processes of devotional service, then we can have like a glimpse, that about the Lord. So unless we adapt all these processes given by the acharyas, we will always be covered by the free modes of material nature, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance. And our senses, like we just spoke about, our senses is imperfect. Why the senses are imperfect? Because we for time immemorial we've been in this material world, and we always like contaminated by the three modes of material nature, you know, and how can you can understand the spiritual nature with our, with this mind which is full of contamination? So the first canto that was Shavatam Punya Shravana Kirtanam, is very auspicious, to Shravana means hearing, and Kirtan, chanting, Hridaya Hiya Bhadrani, like our heart. Prabhupada always mentioned and, quotes his verses, and Srila Prabhupada also in our day-to-day, practice of devotional service. And we're just listening to a lecture. Srila Prabhupada said, if you just chant a 16 round daily, you're sure, that you will go back home, back to Godhead. So it's easily said than done. And one devotee was telling Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, I've been chanting for so many, 16 rounds, but I don't feel I'm a pure devotee. I don't feel connection. I love Krishna. So Prabhupada says you have to keep on chanting. He say just like by constantly chanting. He say, what if even I chant the Hare Krishna mantra and 16 Ram, I don't go back home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada say, don't worry, I guarantee you, I will come, leave the rest for me. I'll come and save you. I'll come and get and bring you back home, back to Godhead. And yesterday, we were at the Mother Sangita's, she told us a nice story about Srila Prabhupada also. Some devotees, Prabhupada was saying, some devotee was complaining to Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada, we cannot be fully Krishna conscious. Prabhupada, it could try at least 75%. And they say, no, 75%, that's also not possible. What about 50%, Prabhupada says? They know 50% also. It's very hard. It's very hard to practice Krishna consciousness. Okay, Prabhupada, go down and go down to 25%. If 25% your Krishna consciousness, you're guaranteed that you will make it back home, back to God. And so the pure devotee is always there just to take us back home, back to God. And so by following the Guru Parampara, that's why we should always hear about from the pure devotees of the Lord. Like the other day also Mataji was telling me like regular somehow also we have to try to hear from from advanced devotees, from advanced devotees, and we should hear from Srila Prabhupada lecture also very often, because each and every word that Srila Prabhupada spoke is full of meaning and is really purify our heart. If we if we desire, if we have sincere desire, to get purified, only by hearing from pure devotees, then we can make some advancement, and at least we can just chant the holy name and understand that the holy name is not different from Krishna. And at the end of the life, like we can make some progress toward going home, back to Godhead. Also in this verse also it says the Lord is eternally the symbol of full and perfect knowledge. His speciality is perpetual freedom from matter contamination, distinction from the Lord individual. I just read that. So devotees, they always think that they're subordinate to the Lord. They never think that they are God themselves. So we are so lucky also that we have the perfect knowledge. And now we have to apply this knowledge. There's jnana and vijnana. Jnana means like we go to the university, get a lot of knowledge. But unless we put it into practice, vijnana, the knowledge doesn't have any sense. So we have to, whatever knowledge we're receiving from the Vedic literature, from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have tried somehow or that we have to put it into practice, then we, then which is the Vijnanam Anandam. Once you know about, you put into practice, then, and this practice is full of bliss, Vijnana Anandam, full of bliss and knowledge. The condition are never to be compared to him, because such individuals so have the tendency to become contaminated. After liberation, the living entity can become one with the same quality of the existence of the Lord. His very tendency to become contaminated, which is the Lord never has, makes the individual living entity different from the Lord. It's another point. Also, it is said in the Vedas, it is said, Sudam apapam vidam, the individual Atma become polluted by sin, but the Lord is never contaminated by sin. So that's why the difference between, it just, all these are telling the difference between the Lord and the individual living entity. Has Mayavadis, they always say that we're same as the Lord, we're one with the Lord. With a devotee, like we never think that we're one with the Lord. We always think that we're servant of the Lord. Also, it said this means the Lord is also all pervading like the sun. As such, the word pratyak is used in this verse. Nothing is excluded from the expansion of the Lord potency. The Lord within everything and is all covering also without being disturbed by the activities of the individual soul. He is therefore infinite in the living entity or in first testimony. So this example of the soul of the sun is in so many places. Srila Prabhupada, in Bhagavatam, he say how the Lord is like the sun, and the sun, like in the purport it says the sun is very purifying agent. You know, if something is contaminated, you put them in the sun, and the sun, he will purify the place. Similarly, the Lord is like the sun. By being in contact with the Lord, we immediately become purified, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is not different from him. We immediately become purified. We just have to put it into practice and have full faith, in full faith in the Guru who give us, the mantra and say that, but just by chanting, like Srila Prabhupada said, you're guaranteed to go back home, back to God. You're guaranteed, going back home, back to God, and you're guaranteed to understand Krishna. And it is a gradual process, but the process is there if we, it's all depend because we have the independence, whether we want to be in this material world or whether we want to know Krishna. If we want to understand Krishna, only by the process of devotional service, and we have to take the instruction of all the acharyas and the pure devotee that we do Parinipati and Parispati and Apseva, you know, by inquiring from spiritual master, and you know, and because he self-realized, impart the knowledge to us. Okay, also it is said that it says so many points in that, if we cannot discuss everything, I'll just mention some of the main points. In the Vedas, it is said that the Lord also alone exists and all others exist and depend on him. He is a generating reservoir of everyone's existential capacity. He is the supreme truth for all other categories. And also this is a nice verse from Bhagavad Gita, also 8-9. And 8-9, I think we learned these verses when we were with Vishnu Gadas learning the scripture, learning verses. You see, he said, they're very nice. Anybody remember these verses? Kaving Purana? Kaving Purana anusasitaram anur ani sa anusmaredya sarvashadataram achintya rupam adyavarnam tamasa parastat. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything. And he is the oldest, who is a controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is a maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, who is always a person, is luminous like the sun. Again, the example of the sun is said, and is transcendental beyond material nature. To even Krishna, in the chapter, Bhagavad Gita 8-9, say how to attain him. So in order to attain Krishna, we should meditate always on Krishna. And Krishna, he knows everything. And he always exists. And he's the oldest. And also Krishna is the controller of everything. And Krishna also, it says in Anur, Anur, Ani Yasum, mean he is the smallest and smallest. And Krishna is always the maintainer of everything. Everything emanates from him. Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo is beyond all material conception. So with our material mind, material brain, we can never understand Krishna. It's beyond. And this verse in so many says we can understand Krishna. And he's so inconceivable. And he's always a person. And he's luminous as the sun. He's transcendental to material nature. Prabhupada in the verse says, process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in his verse. The foremost point is that he is not impersonal or void. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. That is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated here. And first of all, the Lord is Purusa, the person. We think the person Rama and the person Krishna. Whether one think of Rama and Krishna, what is like described in this verse, Bhagavad Gita. The Lord Kavi, that he who knows past, present, and future, therefore knows everything, is the oldest personality because he's the origin of everything. Everything is born out of him. He's also the supreme controller of the universe. So this is a nice, very nice verse in Bhagavad Gita. He's the oldest personality because he's the origin of everything. Everything is born from him. He's also the supreme controller of the universe and is a maintainer and instructor of humanity. He is the smallest and smallest. The living entity is 10,000 the tip of the hair, part of the tip of the hair, but the Lord is so inconceivably small that he enters into the heart of these particles. Therefore, he is called smallest and smallest. As the Supreme, he can enter into atoms, into the heart of the smaller, and control him as a super soul. Although so small, he's still all-pervading and is maintaining everything. Barring all this planetary system or sustain, we often wonder how big planet are floating in the air. Stated here, the Supreme, by inconceivable energy, is sustaining all these big planets and system of galaxies. The Lord is Achintya, inconceivable. It's very insignificant in this connection. God energy is beyond our conception, beyond our thinking, jurisdiction, and therefore called inconceivable, Achintya. Who can argue this point? It pervades this material world, and yet it is beyond it. We cannot comprehend even the material world, which is insignificant compared to the spiritual world. How can we comprehend what is beyond Achintya? Achintya means that which is beyond this material world, that which our argument, logic, and philosophical speculation cannot touch, that which is inconceivable. Therefore, intelligent person avoid useless argument and speculation to accept what is stated in the scripture like the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and follows the principles set down that will lead us to, this is very nice. This is like similar. This is the same. So many points that given in this verse is in this verse also in this purport by Srila Prabhupada. So another thing we can take from that is that no one can understand Krishna 100% because Krishna is Nayam Vidanti Tadvena, is beyond our comprehension. And who can understand Krishna? Prabhupada said, the qualification to understand is a prasanta. What the meaning of prasanta? The meaning of prasanta is that unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Unalloyed devotees, anya bilasa sunyam, jnanam, vijnana, avastitam, anukulyena Krishna nu, sunana bhakti uttam. Means devotee who is devoid of all material desires. They always anya bilasa sunyam. They don't have any personal desire. Their desire is just only to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. These are the prasanta. And the prasanta also another meaning is the one who is very calm. One who is free from the free modes of nature. One is devoid of all material lamenting, like Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Rochatina Kanshati. Never lament, hanker or lament after any material, And if a devotee becomes a prasanta and alloy, then he can understand Krishna. The reason is that the devotee has no demands in their life. They don't have, Father says, they don't have demand, no hankering, no lamenting, and the only goal of life is to be Narayana Parayana. You know, another word the Prabhupada use very often, Narayana Parayana. They completely dedicated the life, soul, body, mind, soul, you know, in the service of Krishna, in devotional service. When these are the devotees, they can Krishna reveal to them to certain extent. Prabhupada also mentioned, like, the philosophers, empirics, and mystic yogi and the pretty workers, they all have some demand and they cannot, they want to understand what the universe is, but they're always speculating, that's a kind of like dry, speculative argument they have. And the Lord is remove himself from them. The Lord is not revealed to them. And also another thing is that spiritual form can never be experienced at your senses. Like we always saying, and we have to purify our senses by the process of devotional service. And also in the end of this, and in Bhagavatam 2640, and no, um, and also Prabhupada Atmarama. And they say, so Sutta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atmarama who take pleasure in the Atma of self, especially those on the path of self-realization. Those freed from all kind of material bondage desire to render unalloyed devotional service to the personality of God. This means that the Lord possesses transcendent qualities, therefore can attract everyone, including liberated soul. So there's a wonderful verse and in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya discussed, with Sarva Bhama Bhattacharya. And he gave he gave like 9 explanation of this word Atmarama. Lord Chaitanya gave 64 explanation of this verse. Lord Saraswati came in the dream of Sarva Bhama Bhattacharya and revealed that Lord Chaitanya himself is the Supreme Lord. So, usually the Sarva Mama Bhattacharya, everybody when he was in personalities before, and he was telling Lord Chaitanya, why you're just chanting the holy name of the Lord and you're just a sentimentalist. You're chanting and dancing. You should, you look like a very nice sannyasi, very young, intelligent sannyasi. Why you're wasting your time just chanting and dancing? You should study the Vedic literature and learn about Marama, about all the impersonal aspect of the Lord. And in this way, he was defeated because the goddess Saraswati, herself came into his dream and told him, that you're arguing with the Supreme Lord only. So then Savamamantacharya surrendered into Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada also said that devotees should try to understand Krishna, that Krishna is everything. And everything depends on Krishna. Then our life will become perfected. I think, and also in Bhagavad Gita 3:23, Krishna said, O son of Prita, there's no work prescribed for me within all three planetary systems. No, I want anything or have any need to obtain anything, yet I'm engaged in prescribed duty. So Krishna is completely independent. He's in charge of everything. So he doesn't have to do any activities. So but still Krishna just to teach us, just to be very kind and merciful to the living entity. yeah, he performed his prescribed duty just to teach them a lesson. There's so many points in the in this verse, in this purport. It it's like impossible just to talk about each point. So and and the main thing that I take from this is that somehow or other, you know, we have to understand about Krishna. You know, we have to try to understand Krishna from the pure devotee of the Lord, and understand that Krishna is not revealed easily to us unless we are free from all material contamination. Mm. That's why, somehow or other we have to try to purify our senses by engaging in devotional service. And we say again and again, you know, the chanting, the hearing process, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day, hearing from very, from great soul, hearing from the Guru who has self-realized soul, and also by chanting the holy name of the Lord. If we any serious, practitioner, if we want to, to make advancement in spiritual life, and this is a qualification that is required. So there's no other way to go around, that okay, we don't do anything, we don't hear and chant, we don't hear Bhagavatam, and we will at the end of life, that we will, by some causes mercy, sometimes we can hear about Krishna, but unless we put this into practice, there's no other way we can be free from material contamination and attain Krishna. And also, there's a very nice verse, this is the last verse, Gospel Prabhupada said, Yesam antagata papam, yanam punya karmana, yedwanda moham nimukta bhajati mam didavata. Yesam antagatam papam, person who acted piously, in the previous life and in this life. So for us, we don't have to say, previous life, we don't even know what kind of life, just by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that we have come to Krishna consciousness, and he gave us like an opportunity to act piously in this life, so that we can be free from sinful life. And in this life, and whose sinful action are completely eradicated or freed from the duality of delusion, they engage and serve my service, in my service with determination. So those who are on the path, who are trying to engage with determination, that means they are active somehow or other in a pious way. And the sin is gradually getting eradicated. So also another point that touch my heart is that few devotees, they are always very satisfied. They are not attracted by any material thing. So say devotees, even in our ISKCON movement, we have so many devotees, like they're really not active. They really live very simply, and they always just want to engage in devotional service. And one devotee that come in my mind is Jayananda Prabhu. You know, everybody who has been in ISKCON for a while, they know who Jayananda. He's one of the disciples of Prabhupada. And he was an educated, I think he has a degree in engineer or something. He was very educated, so he gave up everything and just joined and start chanting. And he was very humble, meek and humble. And before joining the movement, he had like, he had some saving. When he joined the movement, he gave all his change to his saving to Srila Prabhupada, $5,000. Then he was constantly like chanting the holy name. He was constantly engaging in devotional service, and and he regularly go and distribute prasadam and help the devotee and take the devotee, to Sankirtan to distribute books. In order to maintain the temple, he drove a taxi, you know, and every single penny he gave just for the service of the Lord. He was fully dedicated. It's not like impossible, like we cannot have like, a dedicated devotee, nowadays, there's, even in our moment, Srila Prabhupada disciple, there's so many of them, they're so dedicated for years. They're very educated. They have all kind of degrees and everything. They give it everything. They just want to propagate the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Jayananda Prabhu and so many other disciples, they're completely dedicated to the service of the Lord. And by taking shelter of all these great devotees, we can be purified, we can be purified, and we can have some hope that devotional service by engaging devotional that all only will give us a pure bliss, anandam, we say this in knowledge. Uh, and so knowledge is very important also, in let's say devotional service. Without knowledge, then we don't know what we're doing. That's why, we should always try to read Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. He said, therefore the doubt which arises in the heart, 442 said, in your heart, out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and find. One who doesn't understand the instruction of the Gita, stateless, is to be considered to be misusing our independence that the Lord gave us. And all whatever we do, everything should be in according to Krishna, a sacrifice to Krishna. And therefore we are advised to study Bhagavad Gita and the scripture and the instruction of Gunapai, spiritual mode and advance the good of the world. And with service and surrender, only we can understand Krishna to a certain extent. And we should associate with people, like-minded devotees and devotees who are, there's all kind of devotees, all kind of people. And people who are interested in only in material things, in making progress in material advancement, they are not good, you know. If you don't be around people who are profit oriented, we are not businessmen. Devotee is not interested in making profit. Devotee interested only in making devotees. As long as profit incentive is there, everything becomes contaminated. I hope uh, I touched some of the points there, and with my limited knowledge, I'm just trying to repeat what I hear from advanced devotee and from Srila Prabhupada books. So if anybody want to add anything, any comment?
Anybody has any reflections, any comments, please just unmute yourself and go ahead. In this chapter, it seems like the point is being reinforced that he has a personal feature, and that is what we should be focusing on in devotional service. That's my takeaway. There was you mentioned something about Atma Ramas.
Yeah.
There are did you say 16 different meanings? Where is that?
That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita that you said.
Which
Yeah.
I can pull that up.
Yeah. Actually, I just heard from a devotee, I don't know exactly. Actually, in 60, 64, maybe. Like the conversation between Sarvabhauma
Obama.
Bhattacharya
Okay.
and Lord Chaitanya.
Okay.
There are actually two different ones of that. One, when he was talking to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya,
Yeah.
I think it was just 16 explanations. But then when he was in Benares, Varanasi, then there were 64 explanations.
Yeah. Do you know where is it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? I know it's 6.
I'd have to look at the table of contents to give an exact. One moment. Okay, so the one is the one in Varanasi would be the 61 explanations of the Atmarama verse. That's Madhya Lila 24.
Yeah.
The one with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya would have been
The conversation, I think it's the beginning of when Lord Chaitanya met
it could be Madhya 6 will be the one with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
the liberation of Sarvabhauma.
Madhya 6 and Madhya 20.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya
24.
is Chaitanya
It's 6 and 24.
2:6, yeah.
And then the other point that you were making about, when we take up devotional service, we are happy if we take it up in a nice way. The other thing that I have felt is that you also, the worries and the fears also seem to subside. Before I took to devotional service, it seemed like I was always anxious about or scared of things. But I'm obviously not a surrendered soul, but to whatever extent I have done, I feel a little bit little less anxious, and little less fearful. So
You're completely
those,
right, like because at that time, like the heart was very contaminated by material, by so many sinful activities from previous, just by the process of devotional service, we got purified, we got purified, and once you get purified, and that we know about Krishna, that Krishna is always there to protect us, give us a sense of, become fearlessness of it. Abhay Chana,
yeah,
Abhaya Charana, like the Huri Manasinanda, by fixing our mind. It's just, even we're not pure devotee, just a little process, by just a little bit engaging, we become very confident, and Krishna is always there to protect us. And even the process, is so blissful, like, and knowingly, like we feel very confident, fearlessness, and we feel blissful just by engaging. We just have to engage sincerely. Then we can experience. It depends
Do you
person to person. Yeah.
tended to be in control of everything, trying to, do everything because I thought I was in control. But now giving up control and understanding that I'm not in control actually makes me feel a little bit more uh, confident and feel like I'm more in control of myself when I have given up control. It's just it's funny how that has happened. You give up control, but you feel more in control. Um, when I was trying to control everything, I was feeling a lot less.
So you're telling, like you become like before, due to false ego and everything, we desire the knowledge,
Mm,
of Krishna consciousness, you know, it was difficult for us to think that we are not the controller. Just that, now by giving control, just because you heard from the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the controller, that's why you become out of control or something.
mm.
What made you feel like you're not in control of everything?
No, I think as I am reading more or trying to understand more, I understand that I am not in control of anything. I used to think that I'm in control. So if I did this, I can make this happen. And now I understand a little bit that I am not in control of anything. Somebody else is in control. I have to do what I have to do. But I feel a lot more reassured. When I was trying to control, uh, I feel more powerful when I am giving up control, is what I'm trying to say. I think I feel not powerful, stronger when I've given up control. Whereas when before I used to try to control everything and thought that is what would make me feel stronger. But now giving up control makes me feel stronger, is what I'm trying to say.
It's a nice realization, I'm sure many of us feel the
Yes.
same way, Like before we don't understand why is this happening to us. But now, by the knowledge that we receive from Srila Prabhupada books, we know that everything happened for a reason.
Mhm. Yes.
We accept things as they are. When so many anxieties, so many difficulties, so many things come, we accept them. And we don't put the blame on nobody, and we don't
Mm.
have a pity party. Oh, why is this happening to me?
Pity
Yeah.
party. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is this happening? Due to your past karma, to your simple reaction, that why is this happening to you? And now that we have the knowledge, then we say we should not keep on engaging in simple reaction. That to be happy, we have to stop. Stop all this, the simple, the bad habits, you know, that give us so much anxieties. And that's why it's so important to just constantly hear and read and have the knowledge that only can, slash the ignorance in
Mm.
our heart and understand things as they are. Understand about Krishna, who is the controller of everything. And we're responsible for what is happening, bad or good is happening to us.
Yeah. Anybody else have any other thoughts? Right. I don't see any hands up.
I think in this shloka, I really like the point in the shloka that when we are not contaminated, when we are contaminated, the Krishna disappears from there.
Mm.
Yeah, so we have to always be careful that we don't hanker or we are purified, and we see that there is super soul in other. And so this point really liked because in this material world, it's very easy to be contaminated and create reactions. So we have to be very, very careful because we live with the devotees. It's not difficult, but with the other in this world, we deal with other people. So if we read, like, listen to these classes and read Bhagavatam, so we realize that we have to be aware of that. We have to be pure. So I really like this, that Krishna disappears whenever there is impurity.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice class. Everything was very, very nice.
Nice point. Yeah, that's true. It's very important to be free from all contamination because Krishna is all pure. How can you understand Krishna without an impure heart? It's inconceivable. And we cannot even fully, nobody understands Krishna fully. Krishna is revealed to a certain extent only to us, not according to the verse. And just to understand Krishna who's all pure. It's very important, to purify the heart. That's the only qualification that we need is to purify the heart. That's the process of devotional service. We shouldn't underestimate the process of devotional service. They're very potent. They're very powerful. Process. Otherwise, they say, Vamukehi Jivadu. Seva, by our tongue, by our mind, not by our mouth, Muke means, our mouth. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And tell Chandra Prabhu, I know you're very well versed in in all this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And you have any point to add?
I do not. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll end the class here, and we'll see everybody at the Sunday feast today. Have a wonderful week. Hare Krishna, Bhakta David.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the class.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.